welcome, and hello. This is Total Spotfest. I am JJ. That is Jamie. That is Austin. We are coming back at you here. Not on our normally scheduled time, but Dynamite was not on its normally scheduled time either. So, a little modification, but still, it's Wednesday night. Boys, we are going to talk about some playoff baseball and hurricanes. No, we're going to talk about some wrestling.
Let's forget our political
watch
rant.
the Royals for the next 20 minutes.
yes. The game is up on at least one of our TVs. I just turned mine off so I could focus on all the stuff going on here. Jamie's going to keep us updated in case there's any. If we hear some yips and hypes over there, we'll know the Royals be doing good. Big shout out. Send love if you got any friends or family down in Central Florida. I did check, before we all hopped on together. I did just check the Weather Channel real fast, and it literally, as we speak, going through hell. So please pray to everybody down there. Wishing you guys the best. I mean, it's that time of year, but still, nobody likes to see that. But we're here to be your release. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you guys giving us some of your time. How you boys doing this evening?
Nervous. It's officially the bottom of the ninth. We're down by 1. I got my Royals blue on. We're ready to go. Honestly, had a really good night of wrestling for Tuesday night, which I think we'll all get into. But overall, I am nervous as all get out right now because I really want that 2-1 lead.
Austin, I know if you guys follow Austin or Miss Heidi Howitzer on the social, specifically Instagram, you will see there's a new addition to the Reddick family.
Yes, sir. We brought home an 11-week-old puppy last night from the shelter. His government name is Inspector Gadget, but we're just calling him Iggy for short. A handsome and very well behaved for a puppy little guy. So yeah, pretty exciting times around here.
Good for you. Well, that's a good thing about getting a puppy from a shelter. You can rename it, right? Getting like a 7 or 8 year old dog that's got a name is, you almost feel I can't really rename this, can I?
Yeah, we looked at some little bit older dogs as well, but they had a litter of puppies that looked like straight up clones of our dog that we just put down in June. And I was like, well, we got to get one of them.
That is hard. That's hard to say no to. I mean, well,
Inspector Gadget's such a great name. That's fun. Yeah. So did you guys give that name, or was that already given?
No, his prison name was Tomcat. So shelters typically,
what's up, Rob? St. Louis,
give them very just like boring or dumb names.
Oh yeah.
So they don't get super attached, and because they're getting renamed anyway. So there was some like big bull, not like English bulldog, like American bulldog, something or other there named Chicken Pot Pie. That was a pretty good one.
That's good.
There was one named Charizard. Like they just come with random names.
That was pretty solid.
Yeah, I'm a big bulldog guy, and I've been wanting a bulldog, but my wife's like, we have the rule of 2 in our house, like Sith, so you can have 2 dogs at a time. So as soon as one goes, then we'll be getting a bulldog.
Bulldog
it is. We had one go, and we had to go back up to 3. We actually went Friday night to a puppy store, which I do not recommend. Go to a shelter,
please.
But they had a very adorable miniature dachshund, and our little dachshund is my wife's dog from before we start. Like, she just loves dachshund, and you don't really see those at shelters. So we're like, we'll go look at him. At very least, we play with the puppy for 30 minutes. It sits in a cage all day, like, whatever. Play with this guy, adorable little dog. And so I asked the gentleman, I'm like, all right, how much is that doggy in the window? And he's like, that's $3,700. And I was like, I must have misheard that. And clearly I did. He goes, oh, wait, sorry. That's $4,700. And I was like, was this dog owned by Barack Obama or something? Like, how is a dog worth $5,000? Ours that we have now were free. Well, the last one we paid an adoption fee, but like,
right, $100 or less, yes,
for a miniature dachshund, not even a full size dachshund.
Well, that's why it was, because
$5,000. That's why you go to shelters. Well, for many other reasons as well, but If you were wondering the going rate at the puppy store for a miniature dachshund, it's $5,000.
That's insane. Insane.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
I've only rescued my dogs. That's all I'll ever do.
Yeah.
My dog was actually, so my old boss back in Jeff City, his wife, she had gotten back into, because the kids were starting to get to be like, like middle school age and all that stuff. So she started to get into, hobbies and things, and she was really into Shih Tzus. So they started breeding Shih Tzus again. So she bred them. They bought a few of them and bred them to sell them, to do all that, right? So it's not like a puppy mill or anything like that, just an individual person doing it. But I was actually moving out of the fraternity into my own apartment, and I was looking to get a dog because I could finally have my own dog for once, right? So I wanted to get something smaller, this and that. So I was looking around, kind of do some prep, and my boss is like, "Don't do that. Here, we just had a litter. I'll give you one." And I'm like, "Well,
Nice.
shit, okay." And of course, his wife found out and made me charge. So he's like, "I got to charge you something, so I'm gonna charge you $100, right?" But she was selling those for. This is back in early 2000s. This was for like $2,000. She was selling those for. So, yeah.
Yeah, my best friend's mom used to breed basset hounds, and they were going for about $1,800 to $2,200 a pop. And breeders aren't puppy mills. They take care of those dogs. Like that's.
Well, my dog had papers. If
different.
I wanted to get, I never got them from them.
Got the papers.
But yeah, he was AKG certified. I could have got him registered with AKG, but I'm a big proponent, like what you guys did, for sure. Go. There, the shelters need it. So anyway, what's up, Big Rob? Hello from St. Louis. I hope St. Louis is treating you well there. We are going to be in St. Louis, Jamie and I, that is, within about a month or so. So lots of wrestling happening locally in the upcoming few weeks and months. We're talking about GCW in November, correct me if I'm wrong, 15th?
November 15th.
Bam! Nailed it.
At Pops.
Yep. Oh, it's going to be... And it's the GCW debut of one Gary effing J, which I'm so excited for.
I'm really excited for that. Gary's a good dude.
Gary's such a good.
We have him on the show a couple times.
He's such a good guy. He still tweets at us to retweet him every time he puts up an announcement, and I love that.
He's like, retweet, please. Like, no problem, bro.
But he knows us. He's like, so many times you run into people and they'll be like, "Yeah, that's the guy. I'm familiar with him, sort of." But no, Gary went to Japan, came back. We saw him over at Spalding in at Anarchy, and he's like, "Hey, how's the show doing, guys?" Just a good guy. Yes, GCW, Rob. Get your tickets. Tickets are on sale now, for sure. Check it out. And for those of you who can't wait till November, here in Kansas City, we got a bunch of wrestling going on. Beginning with next Friday is the last announced Fountain City show for 2024. They're going to be crowning a Fountain City champion, Fountain City Pro champion. I can't remember what they called it.
Yeah,
I think
Fountain City Pro.
A Fountain City Pro champion. So either the Grand Regent Camaro Jackson or All Steel Jay Fowler. A bunch of other stuff on that card as well. It's always a good time at Ball Event Center over in Olathe, Kansas. October 29th. It is a Tuesday, but who cares? Because we got Journey Pro-ish coming back. Journey Pro, conjunction with St. Louis Anarchy at their old location of what used to be Kansas Hall. It is now Guitars and Cadillacs, Cadillacs and Guitars. Guitars and Cadillacs over there, 119th and Metcalf in Overland Park. Yeah, get on board for that. And then recently announced on the interwebs, but not fully fleshed out, is something that we haven't talked about in a very long time on this show. Central States Wrestling is coming back. And there's a reason we haven't talked about it, and there is a reason I am talking about it now, even though I'm not going to tell you what that reason is. I'm just telling you, they announced a show for December 18th, 14th. I think. Was it 14th? Let's see. December 14th. That's it.
Oh, so right after Dynamite.
And then Dynamite tonight. Yeah, we saw Dynamite's going to be back in Kansas City. So, whole bunch of wrestling locally.
Lot of good local wrestling. If you are local to a different locality, I don't know if that's a word, but I'm gonna use it either way.
It
It is.
works. It works. Okay.
Maybe somewhere a little closer to the mountains in or around the Denver area. Um, this Friday night is another thrilling edition of Lucha Libre and Laughs, and I'm gonna open up my stash of knowledge to tell you why you need to go to Triple L, even if it's not this one. You need to go to Triple L.
Let's go.
Plan a trip to Denver at some point in time around a Triple L show. A lot of cool other stuff to see. You can go get out into the mountains and all that. Here's what Triple L is doing this Friday night. Something that you really don't ever see on indie wrestling show ever. This show is called Journey into Mystery. There is announced talent. There is not a single announced match. There's a flyer with some faces, and all the advertising is you won't know what the matches are ahead of time. And you best believe the Oriental Theater is going to be sold out. Nowhere else in pro wrestling I've ever seen a place that can not announce a single match. They can just say some talent, and you'll know you're going to get your money's worth if you go. This is also a place I have seen sell out off of a mystery appearance without hinting at it beforehand. And then out of nowhere comes people you never would have thought of. Now, back in the day, that was Joey Ryan until he got canceled a couple times. People lost their shit for him. When he was still, we didn't know all the other stuff. If you've never been to Triple L, go to a Triple L. Make a trip to Denver. It's a Friday night, so you can do the whole weekend out there. Real nice in the spring and the fall. Maybe go in the winter if skiing's your jam. All kinds of cool shit to do around. But find one of these Triple L shows and go, because it's the best time you're going to have in pro wrestling.
Could not agree more. Like, JJ and I made the trip 2 Aprils ago.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. Honestly, I mean, that fun fact, that was the birth of the Heidi Ho movement. Thought that
on
was
the way on the way there is the birth of Heidi Ho.
Yes. But you know, that was the first time we got to see Maki Ito live, and the show itself, and as a fan, it is completely different from any other wrestling show I've ever been to, in the best possible way. So you typically know, like, you're gonna get some wrestling, whatever, but then, like, the fact that they had comedic sets in there, they had commentary over the PA, and there were a bunch of comedians just like having fun. Like, it was just excellent. And then the crowd work by every single talent was just great. And that's actually also the time that we saw Stormy Renee powerbomb Austin Reddick. I absolutely have that on video. So
Yep.
you know,
Green has no recollection of that.
I know we popped so hard for you when you came out.
We were
like,
the two
like, oh.
Austin Reddick fans in the audience because you were
a heel at that
You're a
time.
big heel at that time, and yeah,
I've only ever been a heel at Triple L.
And we were just like everything. We were standing up, and it was like, what? Yeah. It really got to me. It really sunk into me, I think, when we were in line. So, you know, Austin and Heidi have told us, you know, all about it and everything. Gotta go, you know. So we checked it out online. Cool. We finally went, right? And we were expecting a really good wrestling show, fun in you know, environment. Cool, right? I remember we were in line, okay, and the person in front of us, it's wrapped a little bit around the building, so we were around the corner of the building, and the person in front of us, we were talking, we were making friends like Jamie and I do. We're talkers. We made friends, right? And one of the ladies that was in front of us was talking about how she hasn't missed a show in like 3 years and all this stuff, and it's great, and we're going on. And there was like a AEW show or something else going on that night too. And I brought up some questions about that. She goes, "Oh, I have no idea what that even means. I've only ever seen this as for wrestling." She will not miss a show and has no idea what's going on in the world of wrestling outside of that building. It's fantastic.
That's Triple L in a nutshell. It's the best pro wrestling that you have to be at.
Yeah.
And they'll throw every couple of weeks, they'll throw a matchup on YouTube from like 6 months ago or something like that, but there's no streaming. Actually, I think they did start putting shows like a month later or so on IWTV or one of those. but it is the most you have to be there in person environment in all of pro wrestling.
It's so worth. It is definitely worth the trip.
Plan a trip to Denver, go to Triple L,
Yep.
let Heidi Howitzer yell at you.
If you're gonna make a weekend of it, don't try and make all these elaborate plans and then get sick the day before. That's highly recommended, by the way.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah, I support that. Especially being the other person.
I almost died like 3 times on the way home too. You know, that ride, like, for some reason, that ride home was even rougher. I don't know. Anyway, well,
Rob, hold on. I have to say something to Rob here.
Okay.
Coldplay, bro.
I was trying to stay away from that, but
Like what you want to like, Big Rob.
You know,
I'm only going to silently judge you. But man, if you like Coldplay, go see Coldplay. I saw Nickelback in concert back in like 2007, and it was one of the best shows I've ever been to. I'll admit it. Like what you like, man.
I mean, I went to a Limp Bizkit concert, so
Dude, I wouldn't even like judge anyone about that. I bet that's just a good time.
have you guys seen have you guys seen their new stuff?
It's been great. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's like, I never thought, you know, because it's like they're doing the same exact songs and stuff, but they just have this different vibe about them because they're older and slower now. And it's like, this strangely works even better somehow.
Like they don't care anymore. Like they're like trying to be something now. Like whatever, we're just gonna have fun.
I just keep pretending they stopped making music after Chocolate Starfish and hot dog flavored water.
It's totally worth it. Go check out one of their like recent like live shows. Like literally, like Wes is back with them. Him and Fred made up, so it's a whole thing, right? You know, but
yeah,
it's okay. All right. So,
anyway, no, I just had to give you a little crap. Like we do appreciate our diversity here at Total Spotfest, but just be prepared for just a little bit of shit talk and a little bit of shit giving. It's only fair.
Yeah.
Especially for me.
The music nerd in me is staying away from that though, because I just good for you, and I'll leave it at that. All right, you guys want to get to Dynamite?
Let's do it.
Like one of the few. Do you
have anything you want to do before we get to Dynamite, Jamie?
No, I think we'll hold off on the Halloween festivities for after Dynamite, because I do have some fun shenanigans for the gents and everybody to participate in as well. Because spoiler alert, a remake of Jamie's second favorite game of all time released yesterday, and it's been glorious.
I was waiting for that because I wanted to know how much you went. Because anyway, we'll put a big old pit of that.
I slept 3 hours. This is 4 hours. 4 hours. Like I
am proud of you. We'll talk more about that here in a little bit. But let's talk wrestling since this is a wrestling show. Title Tuesday. Okay.
With one title match.
With one title match.
Well, they had a match with a bunch of titles in it,
and they had
number one contender.
They had a title eliminator and one with two. Then they had like a number one contenders match. Then they had a match of champions against each other. There were titles around, but like you can't call it Title Tuesday and only put one on the line. I'm sorry, you just can't do that.
Really? Do you know Tony Khan? Because he sure as hell can.
That's not even my biggest criticism of Tony Khan for the night, but we'll get to that.
Ooh, let's go.
So this was very go home-ish. Oh. It was not one of their better go homes. Yeah. I will have to say. I will put that out there. There's a couple pieces of it that I did enjoy, and then there's some pieces I'm like, The whole hype of Moxley and Danielson, I'm for. I am really enjoying. I enjoyed that vignette in the very beginning. Mm-hmm. I really, really like that. I thought, like him calling him out and saying it's his time, you know, and like no one wants the blood of the American dragon on their hands, but he's got to do what he's got to do. I really like that whole thing.
Got to be this way. My favorite line.
Got to be this way. It's Shane O'Max pulling the strings, baby. But anyway, that happened, gentlemen, and I am starting to really reconsider my my Japanese thing, and thinking it might actually happen.
What's happening?
See, I think even more now that it ain't happening on Sunday or Saturday.
Well, I'm convinced it's happening Saturday, 100%.
I think they're doing just like they did at All In, where they're just like stacking the deck to make it seem like he's retiring, and he's just gonna keep on going.
Okay, before I got a small gripe. They have been hard pressed to point this fact out when mentioning it, but not dwelling on it. He's not retiring if he loses a match. He is no longer a 24/7 traveling active duty. He's not done wrestling. He's still going to wrestle. He's going to wrestle in AEW.
Yeah, he'll show up occasionally, but I don't think his title is over.
That I know I always get you about logic, but that bothers living shit out of me because they even say it too, but then they immediately gloss over it, and it's like he's not retiring. This isn't a retirement match if he loses. So even if he does lose, doesn't mean he can still wrestle in Japan.
Yeah,
Wrestle Dynasty.
That's 3 months away.
I still don't think it's any. With the story they're telling, where Mox is telling Danielson like the guy he's gonna have to beat him. I think Danielson wins here, and I would say probably like end of the year, like I was saying before, we get a run of murder Bryan Danielson, like the closest we'll ever get to like 2005 ROH Danielson, just with more of an edge to him. How do you turn that down? Like,
I'm in. You know me.
I think cutting off the reign here and then just like that's it for him as a full-time wrestler. It just seems too soon. It seems too short. I don't think there's a better thing you could do with AEW right now than give us the all bought in on just being aggressive as shit Bryan Danielson, which he's been at times over the last couple months. I think it's too soon to stop it.
Well, I don't disagree with you, but his body might disagree with you. For one, he does need surgery from what I've read, you know.
Yeah, what's
among
2.5
other
more
things.
months?
Yeah, but you also got to admit those dirt sheets have been awfully wrong lately, bros.
They have been, yeah. There's been a lot of swings and misses.
Did y'all see the interview with him?
Tonight.
I forgot who he was interviewing with. I might have brought this up on the show a few weeks ago. It was back when he was in WWE, and he was talking about how much he likes to lie.
I don't remember. No, I didn't.
Like, yeah, he was just talking. He's like, I love lying. Like, not about important shit, but like it's just fun to lie about things. And I could see him feeding that kind of shit out, making it seem more dire. So you keep thinking this is it, and that run just keeps going for a while.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm still on board with, because I don't think you have to end the story or avoid plans for Japan if you drop the belt to Mox.
I'm still 60-40. He's keeping it, but before I was 80-20. I think now I've moved to 60-40.
Yeah.
But compelling arguments, gentlemen. So that the beginning, nice and high. You know, it's like, hey, this is gonna start off to be a banger go home show, right? Darby Allin, Brody King. And then just kind of.
Dude, there's so much. I mean, there was 1, 2, 3, 4. There was somehow 5 matches on this show, and I had no idea there was because there was like 87 promos and interviews and vignettes.
Yeah, I mean, and some of those matches were absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah,
but so this whole Darby Allin hitting Brody King in the face with a rock, like, what? I'm here to see Brody King murder him, but
I liked Brody's half of the promo, at least the substance of it.
Yeah.
Darby talking's never going to be great. Like, he's always like a little too angsty and hyped up, which I get that's kind of a shtick, but like it's like he doesn't have a sense for how to kind of ebb and flow with it a little bit. But I liked Brody calling him out and saying, you're not the face of this place because you'd rather go climb mountains and try and kill yourself. Like, you're not going to be the guy because you don't want to be the guy. The match will be fun, but this is just like real quick and out of nowhere, which is a bit weird.
Therein lies one of my biggest booking problems I've had with AEW in the last 2 years, I will say. Okay. For the most part, they've gotten past their like early youth phase where it didn't look ahead, right? You know, they got so much better long-term booking. You know, they usually keep it around though in just a handful of instances, you know, but they've done a better job of keeping stories long-term. Look at Hanger Swerve, for example, right? That's never going away. Other things like that, right? Unfortunately, they have too much of this lately. The pay-per-view is this Saturday. This began basically last Saturday. And yes, there's a backstory there. There's a lot of backstory there. And that's something that could have been maybe explained since, I don't know, the last pay-per-view you had. You know, you're waiting until like a week before the pay-per-view to even start the buildup of something. And then, oh, by the way, here's this. And then we're going to put it on TV in one night to get everybody excited for it. 4 days before the pay-per-view.
Yeah, like if you're going to do that,
works.
just don't try and build it at all. Keep it as Darby's Open Challenge and have Brody show up at the pay-per-view. If you're not expecting it, it's like, oh, random Darby and Brody King match, and this pay-per-view I'm already watching, let's go. But yeah, when they try and
because then they can murder each other.
In it. Yeah.
The following Wednesday, Brody comes out to explain why and then they can have this promo after the murder had happened, and that leads to a feud for the next month or two. Cool, right? But no, that's my problem with it. It's like, it's not a bad story, even though it involves Darby talking. Yes, Jamie, I agree with you. Okay. But it's not a bad story. It's just badly put together.
Yeah.
Ill-timed. I think that's the big piece. It's ill-timed. And then speaking of maybe ill-timed, maybe not, was right after that where Lance Archer was sold or traded to the Don Callis family, because that's all he needs is another monster, which I think is absolutely hilarious. Which, by the way, Will Hobbs, Powerhouse Hobbs, has changed his Twitter handle from Powerhouse Hobbs to Monstar Hobbs. So look out for that. So he got traded, and then in typical Jake the Snake fashion, like, you know, who'd you get? He's like, oh, you like surprises? I love surprises. You know, like, you know, just like, okay, all right, cool, thanks, Jake. And then, you know, they that happened.
Your Roberts is one of your better impressions. I don't know if I've told you that.
Solid. It was close enough to like not be a bad impression, but it was also funny at the same time. Like,
Exactly.
Top tier impersonation.
See, your Bruce Pritchett gets under my skin, and you know it's
perfect.
It is such a like hyper sensationalized Bruce Pritchett, which is almost perfect. But no, the Jake is on point.
I like this.
I did too, but I didn't know like at first, but then like, because I was talking maybe ill-timed, but then it's like, wait, there's more, and they answered it, and I think that's what happened. At the time, I'm like, what?
They answered it, but what do you feel about the answer? Because Lance with Don Callis turns everything into gold except for Sammy Guevara. We all know that. Which I hope Sammy's doing all right. Apparently got carted off last week from Rampage taping. Yeah. So I don't mind Lance with the Don Callis family, because I know Don will make it make sense. What do you guys feel about the other shoe dropping, though?
I like the other half of it even more, and I'm all on board with Lance Archer and Don Callis. Like, I think that makes sense. I think the problem with Lance Archer is, what do you do with him if you're not going to push him? And him being the muscle to someone like Don Callis that's super over, super hated by it, like, that makes him more interesting, and you can get him involved in more interesting stuff. Because Lance Archer matches, more often than not, good matches. Like,
very good.
Entertaining to watch in the ring, just hard to be believable as a heel. He looks like too nice of a guy. But you put him with Don Callis.
Well, he
he's
is
much
in real
easier to
life.
take.
In real life, he's
Yeah,
like
he's an absolute sweetheart of a man. I've met him a few times. But
Yeah.
like,
he's like he's
that
like
comes
a
across.
super positive Christian man. And he's like
Yeah.
try to put him out as this big killer on TV.
But I think he also doesn't work as like a top babyface either. Like he's in a weird spot. So I think put him with Don Callis works. But I love the angry lucha mob with Jake Roberts.
Yeah, so let's just go ahead and put a baby pin in Jake Roberts there. And then let's talk about the first match of the night. Right before the match, there's a Daniel Garcia thing. He's going to address his future, which we'll get into. Obviously, if he's addressing his future, we kind of know where it's going. But anyway, so you had Hologram versus Commander, and this is a wet dream for JJ. Flippy
good.
spinny shit, a
Flippy
go.
spinny. I love me some hologram, man. I love that hologram.
But it is even more of a wet dream for one Austin Reddick, because it was the first of all night. We had a very, very special guest commentator.
Oh yeah, we did.
JEFF JARRETT.
Ain't he great?
He was good.
Great.
He was so good on commentary.
He's putting over everybody, dude.
He's
Everybody.
good at pro wrestling. You need him in the office. You need him on camera. You need him on commentary. You need him as a referee. You need him selling tickets out front. Like Jeff Jarrett just is pro wrestling.
It's almost like he was born in this business, grew up around it, ran his own businesses, and is now in AEW. It kind of feels like that.
Like he just gets it. Like, and I mean, yeah, like you say, why wouldn't he? But yeah, he's just anything you need him to do, he's your guy.
It comes to the point where I love him. I love Nigel. I'm ready for Taz to move to maybe more of a managerial role. Okay.
I love Taz, and Taz is getting surgery, and we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
But this match, gentlemen, like, as much as, I mean, I appreciate the luchadors. Don't get me wrong. I'm more of a strong style kind of guy. This match was fun. The double Poison Ranas, one botched, one not. You know, very lucha-esque there. Commander is a little bit faster these days, which is great. The springboard into the power bomb was beyond sick. There's lots of good to happen here. Hologram, of course, gets the win. I do like Hologram a lot. I think that kid push him to the moon, or El Muño. I don't know.
Yeah, Hologram's dope. And also, Big Rob asked in chat, why does Lance Archer need a manager because he can handle his own? Because Lance Archer, unfortunately, just isn't that interesting. And again, I like him. I like his matches, but he's just not that interesting of a character on screen. He's Big Bill with less charisma.
Oh, I had no problem answering Kevin Abreu.
Oh, you still can.
I mean, cool, dude.
This is a wrestling podcast. We're here to talk about wrestling.
I got a wife and 4 kids. We do softball. I'm very active in my church. Like, what else do you need there, bud? How about you go back into the bottom of your mom's basement?
All right. So
for those of you only listening, we had a troll pop in and ask why we just talk about wrestling all the time. And apparently all the time is roughly 2 hours once a week. That being said, I do pretty much talk about wrestling all the time. But
you are a professional wrestler.
You are a wrestler.
Yeah. I'm the in-ring correspondent. I got
Yes. All right. So let's go ahead and put a bow on this. After the match, after Hologram wins, they get attacked by Roosh, by my favorite Drilistico. I love that guy. And then the Mortis, whatever, Black Mortis. That's all I got. And then they put their fists together. Then here comes the man himself, Jake the Snake Roberts. And he just puts his hand up right there. And I guess they are a nice little new faction. I think that makes so much sense because, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you know this, Roosh's English is not the best. He might have the charisma. He might have all the things. But he needs that piece right there. And I think this is a match made in heaven. Give me this.
I just love that this is interesting and completely unexpected. Like, you hear, wait, the Luchas are just with Jake Roberts now. I'm in. Like, this is tread new waters, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's like you hear it and you're like, really? It's like when you hear that, like you hear about like the local dive that has that one thing that's like deep fried something crazy on a stick or something like that. And you're like, what? How does that work? And then it's like, oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever eaten in my life. No, I'm not saying this is the greatest thing that ever happened in wrestling, but on the first, I was confused by it because I'm like, Jake and them? But then, yeah, it's good. It's good because we always talk about so many people in this company that need somebody to talk to them for, Roosh is the perfect example. And here you go. Jake Roberts.
Now,
Hey, ni hao, dude. Oh, I love it. Yeah.
oh, nice.
What's up, Jim?
Yeah. That's awesome.
So after seeing this match, and then obviously they announced for Wrestle Dream, Mordos and Hologram, 2 out of 3 falls. I'm starting to really think I would like AEW to straight up have a Lucha division and a Lucha championship.
Like the old school cruiserweight, but
Yeah.
Like straight up every match in the division is like
Lucha
more
rules.
classic Lucha Libre rules. You have one Lucha Libre champion. You've got so many good luchas on the roster and so many American guys that can wrestle lucha style.
mm-hmm.
Make that a division. That gives you something to do for a lot more guys that you kind of just trot out there to flip around every couple of weeks. Give them some stories. And I think giving them their own division and obviously letting other people compete in it, not just the luchas, but like, give us Lucha Libre every
Imagine
week.
Dante
Like, true
Martin,
Lucha Libre.
fighting for a lucha deal. Yeah, or something. Absolutely.
I mean, you get me Dralistico and Dante Martin in a match, just
Yeah.
slap my ass and call me Susie, dude. I'm in.
I am for it. I am for it.
And this is coming from the guy who's not the super lucha fan like you are. Like, yeah, like that just excites me. It makes me think of old school WCW, the old cruiserweight.
Exactly. That's how I found Lucha Libre. I found Mexican wrestling because there was like this giant hole in the middle of Nitro, and everybody was so focused on the first 5 minutes and the last 10 minutes. They're just let you guys do whatever the hell you want. Fuck it, we don't care, right? So they just started booking a bunch of luchadors in there, and they had all these, and it was some of the best wrestling you would see from those Nitros was in that middle 40 minutes, right? And you'd get the luchadors and Chris Jericho, Dean Malenko, and Eddie Guerrero, and Chris Benoit. So good.
Psychosis, Juventud Guerrero, Guerrero, sorry.
Perry Saturn,
Super Crazy,
young Perry Saturn. Oh.
Dude, like there are so many great freaking luchas there on that damn show.
Yeah.
How dare you not mention El Dandy?
El Dandy.
No, but like really quick, while we're on this little detour, as I mentioned a few weeks ago, I've been watching through 96 WCW. I'm in December. Yeah. One of those Nitros, and it might be the first one in December 96, has Regal versus Psychosis in a solid like 10-minute TV match that is just absolutely phenomenal.
Jamie just got a boner.
Yeah. Well, because people sleep on Psychosis, and just allow me to just wax poetically on how good Psychosis actually was.
Please wax.
So, I mean, he was he was bona fide lucha star in my opinion, but you put him in a technical match with a Dean Malenko, or you put him in there with a William Regal. That dude was incredibly gifted in catch wrestling and everything. Like, he was arguably, in my opinion, I know we got Rey Mysterio out of that whole thing. He might have been their best one out of the lot, in my opinion.
Only if you don't include Eddie in the lot, which I think is fair.
Eddie is his own.
Eddie is an asterisk in the best way. It's like you had all these stuff, and you had Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah. Like, I could see you including him with the WCW Luchas because he was down in AAA for a while and all that, but he's not really with those other guys. I don't think it's the same category.
Yeah, Eddie's his own category.
Yeah, he's not a true lucha, but he's not necessarily not lucha. You know, he could. So I mean, it's like he's one of those. So like Ray's a true lucha. Ray is a luchador, 100%. You know.
Oh, and young Ray.
Oh.
I mean, that's where we got the flipping Hurricane Rana pin was on Psychosis. That whole thing that was
Mountain.
like, yeah, dude, that is one of the sickest moves I've ever seen on TV. The first time I saw it, I was like, what, 13 years old, 14 years old. I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's like 93, 94, whatever. I remember seeing it, I'm like, oh my God.
So
it was 96.
96.
Up to that
okay.
point, Jamie and I, because those of you unfamiliar, I give him shit. He's 6 months older. We're the same age, right? So we grew up watching the same things, you know? And up until that point, when Nitro came around and debuted this, and this is back in the 90s, folks. Okay, yeah, we're old, whatever, right? But we didn't have 85,000 channels and the whole internet to go fall off to. The internet was... it was there, but it was different. Let's put it that way.
we had friends with satellite dishes, and we got to watch fuzzy porn, not Pornhub. Just saying.
No, not even good porn either. We're talking like a little bit more than Skinamax sort of. Anyway,
yeah.
But so up to that point, our wrestling that we had seen had been whatever WWF at WWF at the time had put on the TV. Or if you were lucky enough, I know I was. I don't know if you had where you're at, Jamie, or not, but I was lucky enough to see some Mid-South and Crockett Promotion stuff, right, on Saturday afternoons, right? Very typical professional wrestling in the truest sense. We had no concept of stuff in Japan or Mexico, and then here comes WCW Nitro, and it's like, what is this? I like this.
I remember renting Bash at the Beach 96 on VHS with my friend Chris Willis when we were 9 or 10 and seeing Ray counter the Splash Mountain into a Hurricane Run off the top rope. And I was like, are they allowed to do that? Like, that's the most dangerous thing I've ever seen. It's so cool.
And Rob, yes, that is the exact same Psychosis. And yes, WWE did do him wrong and all the luchas wrong other than Rey Mysterio.
You know, I will say, not to really defend WB, because the Mexico thing was not good in hindsight. It was over at the time. Does not hold up. That being said, WCW killed those luchas before they ever got to WWF.
Oh, WCW killed most everything.
Late stage WCW, like Hoovy and Psychosis, not like they weren't doing any better. Than
they all
Golden
walked
Age
out. I mean, half of them walked out before WCW was fully sold because, I mean, shit, Eddie Guerrero walked out live on TV. That was a shoot, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, he just like him leaving in the middle of the episode. That wasn't kayfabe. That was him saying, "Fuck you, I'm out."
Yeah. So speaking of somebody who might be out, might be in, we had Daniel Garcia officially announcing where he was doing, and he has decided to, since he is a great wrestler and he wants to wrestle the best, he's going to stay where the best wrestle. And he has re-signed with AEW, but that part was fine of his promo, gentlemen. But the end of it, when he said that he's this new version of himself, and he showed a lot more passion and saying that he wants gold and everything, I personally felt like that was one of his better promos that he's ever done, the tail end of it for sure. And it makes me excited about what the future holds, especially with the whole thing and him and Katsuri Shibata. Oh, yeah. So, gentlemen, what did you think of that promo?
I really enjoyed the promo. I don't have the Mark Stradamus hat, but I'm going to tell you what the future holds for Daniel Garcia. He's taking that TNT title off Jack Perry. He's the guy to do it.
I think that makes more sense than Shibata. 100%.
Oh, Shibata ain't winning on Saturday. Shibata ain't winning. Danny Garcia's taking that off.
I think that to me sounds like a full gear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Build it up for full gear.
I don't think you can have Garcia come out and cut that promo if he's not getting a title sooner rather than later. Like, if you don't, then you pull the rug out of him too many times, and you're just kind of done with Daniel Garcia.
The rub on Garcia has long been the potential, the future, all this stuff, right? You know, all the tools, blah, 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 all this stuff, right? Talk about this in baseball players a lot, right? You know, 5-tool player and all this stuff. Sometimes it plans out. Looking at Bobby Witt Jr., right? You know, coming in, you're like, this guy's got it all. Yes, he does. Sometimes it doesn't, you know? So I don't mind this at all because at some point they had to do this. You had to move him into that. Consider you got to put him up there. If he really is if you're going to make him what you want him to be, you got to push him at some point, right? He's been floating around. He got over by thrusting his pelvis. Okay. If that's not the most pure wrestling thing that I've ever, seen in the last year and a half in AEW, I don't know what is, So I'm for it. Will he do good at it? I hope so, right? Because he's supposed to be that top guy, right? You kind of had him and Ricky, right? Now, Ricky, of course, had the Cody Rhodes ties, plays into it, but you more or less put your chips on Daniel Garcia as that, right? Because those are basically one and the same when you're looking at those two guys, more or less, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm all for it. I think it's good. Do I think he can sustain it, though, Jamie? That's the question that I really have. Because we know Daniel Garcia on the mic, and Daniel Garcia has not been the greatest. Can he be that top guy taking the belt and carry stuff?
His track record as of late has been a lot better on the mic.
It has.
I will give him his flowers there. I personally think that this is a foundational piece for the future that you can build around. He's got the technical prowess. He is absolutely fundamentally one of the better wrestlers that they have on there that they showcase anyway. He's had banger matches against, I don't know, Daniel Bryan, John Moxley. Hell, the MJF match was actually a really damn good match too, obviously, So this guy can go with anybody. You just got to keep his momentum going. Don't hangman him where he gets it and don't know what to do with it next. I think AEW is in a much better position than they were at that point with that. So I see the future to be very bright for him, and then maybe he will go to WWE after his contract's up and he'll get the giant bag, whatever, or he stays and makes all the money. Either way, I think this is a smart move for everybody.
To answer your question, Rob asked a question for those of you listening, maybe on replay or whatever. But Rob asked a question about, Garcia has a rocket strapped to his back and Starks is a failing star in AEW. Well, Starks is on his way to WWE.
If he's still Starks' thing is on Starks, from what I understand.
Yeah.
I think Starks, and I've said this many times back in the past on the show, I think Starks is just a better fit for WWE and vice versa. I think Starks is too similar to MJF in presentation, can keep up with all your top talent, but isn't going to go out there and have the 5-star Tokyo Dome match. And you don't really need two of those guys in AEW. I think Starks will kill it in WWE. I think everything you've done with Ethan Page in NXT, you could have easily done with Ricky Starks, and it probably would have been better. And I like Ethan Page.
Yeah. So it's not officially, but he's going over there. He's Cody's boy too, so it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. And he's more or less written off of programming in AEW until his contract expires, if it hasn't already.
Yeah. It seems like they know he's leaving, so why invest the time into him? And
why bother?
He'll still be good when he shows up in WWE. He's not going to lose anything for not being on TV for a while. People will be hyped to see him.
You had a Swerve package saying that he will be at Wrestle Dream. They also showed MVP and Shelton Benjamin watching that package backstage, obviously setting up for the Hurt Syndicate or whatever, and that being a feud. I could see either him and Shelton Benjamin going at it, or one Bobby Lashley, who is confirmed to not be confirmed that he has already signed with AEW.
I think we're getting Swerve and Shelton on Wrestle Dream, and Lashley's showing up at the end of that.
Yeah, to interfere. I agree. But it
That's
also
good, though.
makes me
I think it gives Swerve something interesting that's not Hangman to do next. Like have him feud with Hurt Syndicate for a while.
And then eventually join them.
like that.
Would you join him on to this at the end of said feud?
No.
Not unless he somehow just kind of loses the steam and the aura he has over that, which I don't see happening.
Okay.
I think he comes out of that on top, and you start working him back in your world title picture.
The fact that you worked in Aura, I'm quite impressed. Quite impressed because you're right. He does have ultimate Aura. I listen to the kids.
He's just cool, man.
He is cool. Next you had the second match of the night, gentlemen.
Yes, it has been that long since the match happened. I thought that too. I was like,
yeah. And this is for a world title shot at Wrestle Dream, which I thought was already settled, but evidently they wanted to have a match in order to make sure everybody knew that this is the route that they were going, which I thought was kind of comical.
see my previous comment about the doing things in a week's time. Just saying.
Yeah. So you had Jamie Hayter, nice pop, Saraya with Harley Cameron, Nyla Rose, who got another good pop, and then Willow Nightingale, who is beyond a fan favorite. People love themselves some Willow. I am on that list. This match, okay, so for the shitstorm that this match was, and it was,
which I did like.
it was good because it was. I think that's the whole thing. It knew what it was, and it knew what it had to do, so it did it in the most over-the-top way possible, and it was great. We even got a Penelope sighting, gentlemen. Penelope Ford came back in this. She wasn't the person I was expecting to show up in this match, but she is the one who did show up.
One of the two things that stuck out for me, Penelope, okay? So Penelope coming out, attacking Jamie Hayter, which of course then that takes Hayter out of the match because she's following her backstage. So it answers the question that they even brought up themselves, but didn't really touch too much. This is a woman who had that title and had to have it stripped from her because she had an injury. Why should I immediately going for the title? Because if that was me, I want what was mine, right? The second I came back, like, hey, that's my belt, right? But it keeps her occupied in some fashion in a story that doesn't involve Saraya. Plus, it's Penelope. We get to see Penelope again, hopefully a lot more in the next few weeks, okay? Number two, did you guys see the spot where they all three of them are on the outside, and then here comes a flying Nyla Rose out of nowhere to level all that? Nyla is not just the best tweeter in AEW. I love Nyla so much. Yeah, she does not have bad matches. No. So good.
So I thought this was decent booking and decent storytelling. As Rob mentioned in the chat, it was supposed to be Britt Baker and Willow. Britt got sick, couldn't make it to Dynamite. I like pivoting to, all right, Willow, if you want that shot at Wrestle Dream, you got to beat 3 former champions. I'm okay with not giving Hayter an immediate shot coming back just because she was gone for so long.
Well, story-wise, I get it.
They also could have. Like, you could do it either way, but that's where. But I thought this was fun. This was a good, interesting, kind of different thing to do with the women's division is, all right, we're going to crown a number 1 contender. There's 3 former champions and the most over woman in the company. Yeah, I enjoyed this.
So, gentlemen, I pose this question then. Does Willow walk out of Wrestle Dream as the new women's champion?
Oh, yeah, she does.
I'm leaning yes. My heart says yes for sure. My head is leaning yes. I'm not 100% sold of it, though.
I'm a yes, and here's why.
Okay.
Mina Shirakawa. She interferes, costs the match. So that's the piece, though. That's the piece for me. which way is she going to go? Is she going to be a super face because like she is beloved by everybody, or are they going to make her a heel and side with Mariah? Like that's the only piece that's got me hooked because they keep talking about Mina. She's showing up at Wrestle Dream. I don't need my hat to tell me this. She's showing up. But is she going to cost Mariah the match and then those two are going to start feuding? Or is she going to cost Willow the match and then you're going to have some kind of tag thing or whatever in order to get Willow built back up in order to get the title?
Or is she not going to be the only one showing up at the end of this match?
Oh,
and here's why I said, hell yes, Willow's winning the title. Because she's had a nice hiatus, a good time off to refresh for the viewers. So it's not so much the same thing forever. It's time to bring Toni Storm back. And the second act of Toni and Mariah does not need the title. Because then you're kind of booked into a corner that either Tony's just the champion again, you're kind of just reset to where you were, or Toni loses, which like is not particularly satisfying for your audience. I think Mina comes out to help Mariah. I think Toni comes out to cost Mariah, and Willow walks out the new champion, and they continue their feud. You can do tags and all that kind of stuff there.
And side note,
that's how I would book it. Anyway.
And side note, Mariah doesn't need to be a long reigning champion. Okay.
No.
Especially at this point in her career, Willow can be a long-reigning champion, especially with the way her character's attitude is. I will fight anybody anywhere sort of thing, right? You know? And you have the potential in the future here for a Willow-Jamie match, right? Because at some point, Jamie's going to turn her attention to that belt, okay? There's a million ways we can go about coming to it, and for those of you who might be thinking, JJ, you're focusing a lot on Jamie Hayter. You're goddamn right I am, okay? Deservedly so. I mean, look what she did tonight. I mean, she just manhandled Nyla and Willow back-to-back in that one, like, flurry of moves. I love me some Jamie Hayter, right? But you put the belt on Willow, you've now given not just an avenue for Toni and Mariah, Toni and Mariah and Mina to be in their own storyline there, but you open the pathway for a bunch of different things you can do with Willow as your champion, who should be a champion in your company in 2024.
I wouldn't mind if Willow wins the title on Saturday, them eventually building to Willow and Mercedes title versus title.
Yeah.
You've got way more interesting women than you used to have, where you can have other storylines that aren't revolving around belts. Because I think the problem right now is too much the women's division is these two women are fighting for a shot at Mercedes, or these two women are fighting for a shot at Mariah. And you don't get a lot of variety. I wouldn't mind combining the belts for a while and then telling some other stories that are just good, fun stories and don't necessarily revolve around the title.
Well, and they got pieces coming back. Now, the Britt thing, okay, all right, yes. We have not been high on Britt since her return, deservedly so. Okay, but she is there, right? We had an Anna Jay sighting tonight. Did you guys see an Anna Jay sighting on your television? I mean, yeah, Anna had a very successful trip to Japan, was very highly regarded, and I hope to God it helped her improve her. I mean, she's been doing better in ring, but, boost that up a little bit, Chris Statlander's around, put a pin there, right? Others as well. Eventually you're going to have, eventually you're going to have Julia Hart and Sky Blue come back, right? I don't know how they're going to do that storyline since they've kind of, just.
Where's Thunder? Where's Thunder Rosa?
Thunder Rosa.
She is hurt.
Thunder Rosa's hurt.
Oh, yeah, she's hurt again, isn't she? That's right.
Yeah, she put on Twitter the other day she wasn't cleared yet.
And, as much and as bad of an injury as she had, she might not ever be the same Thunder Rosa again, unfortunately. But Deonna Purrazzo's still out there. Deonna Purrazzo is supposed to be like prepping herself up for a new kind of angle. So yeah, give the belt to Willow so you can do some of this stuff. And you don't have to focus everything because you got avenues.
So here's the deal: you put the belt on Willow, you build a Willow Mercedes, you combine the titles, and then to determine your next contender. Women's Casino Gauntlet match.
Yes, please.
And that's when Thekla
I'll sign up for that.
Okay, all right.
I'll definitely sign up
One
for
day.
One day,
One-
she's killing it
one
right
day,
now.
JJ.
Oh, she's
One
killing
day.
it right now. Like what they're doing over there is, like the whole Clark Connors thing. We often seriously, if you guys aren't checking out New Japan Stardom stuff going on, go. It's is really good right now. It is really good.
Everything they're doing with Thekla right now is amazing.
Yeah, it's so
But,
good.
Yeah, I'm
Just
hook,
to
line,
clarify,
sinker.
Rob asked in the chat, do they need to combine the titles? No, they don't need to combine them. I just want one person holding them for a while to open up space for some other stories. I don't want them just united as one championship. Just give me like a good month or two run of someone holding both titles.
Champ. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good call. After this, we did have a Chris Jericho learning tree sighting, talking to Rocky Romero about how his friends really aren't his friends. The conglomeration really doesn't care about him. The best part of this whole thing was Brian Keith by far. I'm sorry.
Not even on a damn shirt.
Like Big Bill was great, you know, because
Bill
Big
is so
Bill.
good in this.
Brian Keith was like, you better respect Chris Jericho.
I forgot what Big Bill said. It was something about along the lines of sometimes when you're staring too close at the picture, you don't see the bigger picture.
Yeah, the whole picture. Yeah.
Push Big Bill to the moon. That's all I'm saying. All right.
Yeah, when you're in the picture,
Yeah,
you
that's
can't
right.
see
You can't see
the big picture.
Big
And he
Bill is
had
so
the whole
good.
hand too. It's like, come on, dude.
I want to just take us. I know we don't need to dwell on this too much, but I want to just take us for a quick second, ladies and gentlemen, down memory lane. When Big Bill was announced to be coming into this learning tree is before we were sold on the learning tree. Jamie especially. Jamie by far, and we asked the question, is this good at all? And we're all like, well, it can't be worse than what they're already doing with Big Bill. Boy, were we wrong. This is
Big Bill has been great. Like the list of my favorite wrestlers are like Terry Funk, Jeff Jarrett, Big Bill.
I mean, right now, Big Bill is really high on the list.
He deserves it.
Good. He's so good.
That's all I wanted to get to. Sorry there.
So after this, we had our third match of the night, gentlemen. Jay White versus Cody Chun.
That was I just put local talent. I had no idea.
Yes, actually, the guys look pretty good. But anyway, all 39 and a half abs of Jay White did what he does. Hit a Blade Runner, got the win, and then he cuts this big promo on Hanger. The most shocking thing out of this whole thing was not that he called out Hanger, because I think that's absolutely great for them to do. I was kind of taken aback by the fact that Juice Robinson hair was actually like calm.
So they're good guys. How crazy is Juice Robinson? Oh, they're the good guys. Oh, they're the bad guys now. Look at his hair.
Yeah, their faces again. And I mean, I'm here for it. I think I've never seen Jay White as a face ever.
Well,
and
is he really a face? Because he made that one comment. Oh, I'm not done yet. All you guys sitting here weren't. He basically dug into. He did the whole like shoot on the crowd. You love me now. You didn't love me then. Angle, right?
Yeah. But he's like, but we're gonna do it. Like then he totally faced it.
But then
out,
he didn't.
so.
Yeah. So, but he still got it there. Jay White always keeps that gun loaded, right? Just in case.
Now, I want to ask Austin this specifically. Who can eat the loss here?
Hanger.
That's what I think.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Hanger's current character can lose. Not all the time, obviously. You don't want him just like putting everybody over, but that's the whole point of his heel. He's so just angry now that it should cost him sometimes.
He's record independent, basically.
Yeah. Like, I think Hanger can easily lose this and not lose any steam. He'll just get crazier afterwards, which is even better.
Do you think Swerve comes out and costs him, or somebody comes out and costs him?
I think him and Swerve are for now.
Yeah. I think they're separated. What I would really like to see them do is have Hanger and Jay White open the show. Hanger loses his shit and gets kicked out of the building before you have Swerve come out there later. Give me a nice little story piece to explain them not interacting, but don't have them interact. We need to put that on the back burner for a while. We can always and will come back to it later, but let's get them into some different things for a little while.
I love it. Book it, Dano. After this, you had Hook crying about whoever attacked his father. I don't care, but it was saved.
Okay, I was gonna say
Saved by one person, by our father, the patriarch, Christian Cage. He's a family man too. Sorry about
I didn't realize they didn't actually confirm it was Christian last week because he cut the promo right after and said hook, line, and sinker at the end. And I was like, oh, like I missed the beginning of his promo. So I thought he was just cutting promo on Hook.
Pretty much, but they haven't confirmed it, but they basically confirmed it here.
Yeah.
More, pretty much, you know.
So what happened to Kill Switch?
I don't know. He got
almost
hurt.
died.
Oh, really?
What?
He got, his wife found him passed out. He had like double pneumonia in his lungs. I think he's like on the road to recovery, but he's probably gonna be out in a minute. Like, he got.
Oh.
Yeah, his like blood oxygen got real. Yeah, he had like double pneumonia and like kind of collapsed. And from what I haven't seen an update in a while, which is probably a good thing in a situation like this. But yeah,
Wow.
pour one out for Kill Switch. Hopefully he's
Holy
back
hell.
and healthy because
Yeah.
Oh,
Luchasaurus Switch. Killosaurus.
Oh man, that's crazy.
After this, there was a quick Mariah May interview that got interrupted by one Willow Nightingale who hit a monstrous pounce on her and proclaimed herself the next women's champion with still blood on her lip from when she got headbutted by Mariah after the match. I thought that was a nice little thing. Yeah. Mariah May, I'm sorry, your days are numbered. Willow for president. Willow 2024.
that was such a great babyface promo too.
It was.
Willow was just so damn good.
In a company full of heel women, it's good to have like a solid baby face. Like even their baby faces are kind of baby faces, right? No, not Willow. 100%.
Yeah.
Speaking of heel women, you had Emi Sakura, returning Emi Sakura, which great to see Emi, going up against Mercedes Moné. And this match wasn't as good as I was expecting. It was decent. But the big piece about this was after the match, Chris Statlander came out. And gentlemen, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought Chris Statlander was a big time heel working with the Stokes man.
She
did
was.
too.
Confused.
Well,
And if you didn't watch Rampage,
which I did not.
nobody does, or didn't happen to catch it on social media,
What happened?
you would have missed Statlander's promo, which was just a quick promo saying she was done with Stokely. I didn't even see the actual. I just know it exists. I haven't actually seen it. But
Like the ring video.
Earlier when I when we mentioned something beginning of the show, and I was like, that's not even the worst booking decision Tony Khan made this week.
This right here.
This post-match stuff and the stuff with just on a dime switching Stokely, that's the most WWE shit AEW has done in a very long time. Just
Agreed.
Oh no, her and Stokely are done. She's just a good guy now and coming out here to thwart Mercedes. Like it was just so mailed in.
This is the best Statlander has been out other than her wrestling. Her wrestling has always been top notch. We've all look it up. We've always done nothing but raved about her inside the ring, right? This is the best they've done with Statlander since she's been here, really, you know? And it's all because of that oddball pairing with Stokely Hathaway, you know? The whole antithesis for them turning on Willow and all this stuff, right? It's just I just don't get
And the
it.
thing is, I want to see Camille and Stat just
Who
rip each
doesn't?
other's heads off.
You can still do that, you know, just going for who's the baddest bitch in town. That's another independent story you could have, regardless of whatever. Ed Stokely
You
could
could
be
have had
there.
Stokely Hathaway just come up and go, do the whole look up at her, like, like you would do. and be like, I don't know if you know, but this ain't your yard, bitch. Like, I got this girl back here will whoop your ass, blah, blah, blah. Like, do the
Yeah.
typical
No, I'm saying it
Stokely
did.
Hathaway thing.
I'm saying, Rob, it did work. That's the point. My point is that it did work so well. Okay, the odd pairing is what Rob is saying.
Yeah.
I don't mind them splitting them up. I just hate that they basically just announced it. Like there was nothing to push Statlander as a babyface out of that split up. Like you could have had Stokely just turn on her. You could have had Stokely come out cutting a promo, like just saying he's done with her, like anything, just him just saying like she couldn't cut it. I just wanted to get back at Willow. She's useless, whatever. And now she's got a little bit more babyface pop behind her.
You
but
could have done a 20-second backstage video. Mercedes Moné and Camille pull up, and here comes Stokely Hathaway trying to talk to Mercedes, because he's been trying to get in her favor. And she brushes him off, but then he turns around to find Statlander there. She goes, screw you, we're done, right? Boom.
I would have liked to see, after the earlier segment where Don Callis and Jake Roberts traded talent, I want to see like Stokely back there with Saraya trying to trade Statlander for Harley Cameron. And Statlander walks in on it. It's like, what the hell are you doing? And then she just bails. Like even that would have been better than just quick promo on Rampage. They're just done.
Yeah.
That'd been hilarious.
But we're signing up for a Camille and Statlander feud, which...
Yes,
I was just thinking the other day, Camille, like, we haven't really seen her do much in the ring since she showed up.
No, she's had, 2 matches?
Something like that. And she's been here since the summer.
She's
had 2 or 3, not many.
She healthy?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
She's just diesel right now. They're dieseling her really hard.
They're total dieseling her, yes.
But, I mean, I'm here for it.
I don't think she did. I don't think she got a graphic.
I think the
Rob.
payoff's gonna be really big for her by being Diesel.
I mean, it was for Diesel.
Private Party turned down Stokely Hathaway. I'm a little disappointed, but also kind of happy.
Mm-hmm. I'm happy for that.
Top Flight really needs Stokely Hathaway, even though they're in line for a huge push. I don't know if you saw that too.
Oh, I definitely, but I like Stokely Hathaway just trying to get anybody to be his, like the independent Stokely Hathaway trying to get a customer is always good.
I'm split on what happened Saturday. Like I'm 50%. They pull the trigger on Private Party and just try and re-energize the tag division, and that leads into Private Party feuding with Top Flight for a little while. I'm also the other 50% that Stokely has Top Flight come out and cost Private Party the match. And then you just kind of move into that with all of them from there.
Yeah.
I can get behind that. But then they also have their own little flight attendant or whatever. Like, what does that mean for her? So lots of little things there.
I like in general what they're doing with the Top Flight as a whole, even though I know it's not at this point. We'll just go ahead and insert it here so we can spend more time on Ospreay here. But, the little promo they had with them there talking and then them basically more or less, shooting shit on Action Andretti, I dig it. They may be adding a little edge to Top Flight, making them a heel. Sure, right? But I like the fact that they're dedicating time for Private Party and for Top Flight as tag teams, what we've been begging for. You've got good young tag teams. Give us a tag. Well, here we go. Define tag teams. One of them has a valet, right? It's even better.
Yeah. Layla Gray, the flight attendant.
And I'm not even like the biggest Private Party guy in the world. Like, I don't mind them. But just for the sake of putting a shot in the arm of the tag team division, I'm kind of hoping they win the titles on Saturday.
I would like to see that. I think we all know that's not going to happen. But I don't know. I think Private Party can be something amazing, right? When their initial kind of the beginning of Dynamite, they started off going down that path, right? And injury. The same thing with Top Flight, right? Injury. If both of them can get past that and just get some good traction under them, I think we'd be in very good future tag team land.
Well, as you're reigning, defending undisputed pay-per-view champion.
Not for long.
I'm putting the stamp on Private Party winning. I'm gonna call it now.
Woo!
I'm gonna put it's gonna be on my docket. Private
Okay.
Party. Something's gonna happen, and I'm here for it. Don't matter.
Okay.
Private Party. Make it happen. So after this, we had the international champion, Will Ospreay. And gentlemen, I just want to also call this out. My daughters have a softball playlist that we have on our giant speaker that we use before every game and in between innings and everything like that. And there was a particular song that was added without my knowledge to the list by one Audrey Faulkner, and it is Elevated. So she wanted it played because she hits leadoff the very first inning. She wanted it played as she was walking up, like almost like a walk-up song. I'm like, okay, that's baller, because that's a great song.
I mean, state champs
That's a banger.
state champs are fantastic. They're on my bucket list to go see. Oh, you're talking about a different Elevated. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, I was pumped when she told me. And then like we cranked it, and then like Megan came to her games on Sunday and heard it. It was like, oh my god, that's hilarious. Well, anyway, Will Ospreay clearly is a huge fan of A Few Good Men, because he totally Few Good Men Don Callis in admitting that he did order that code red. He did send out Konosuke Takeshita, and then all hell just kind of broke loose.
I think it's there was a lot to unpack in this 5-ish minutes. Okay. For one, that Iron Sheik heat is back. It's so good. Oh, like there's nothing better, especially for old school guys like us, right? To get that guy who you can never even hear him because the crowd's booing so loud. It's so good. Oh, clean break for Ospreay from the family, 100% gone, right? Muddy waters with Kyle Fletcher, which we all predicted in different variations, but definitely there. And you know, sit down and wear a double pair of Depends, because that match on Saturday is going to cause bodily fluids to happen. I mean, yeah. Oh.
I loved every second of this segment up until Kyle Fletcher showed up, and I didn't dislike it after that. I just thought it got a little too convoluted and far away. I love that Will Ospreay is a true babyface, and a really good old school babyface needs to be kind of dumb sometimes. There's a reason why Luger and Flair turned on Sting 18 times in the span of 3 years. Ospreay cutting this impassioned promo, which he has been great on the mic.
Oh, but so good. For somebody who's supposed to be like is going to be a liability for AEW, having Will Ospreay talk.
Yeah,
Please.
But him like cuts a great babyface promo. But like my favorite part was this was the promo where he just finally realized Don Callis is a piece of shit, which like everybody has known for 2 straight years now. He's been the literal worst guy in the company, like morality wise. And Ospreay be like, I can't believe I ever respect you. You're scum. Like, yeah, man. Like it's Don Callis. There's reasons people do this shit every day. But it works. It's believable because Ospreay seems like that guy that would be so trusting that he'd be like, well, maybe Don's not that bad. Like, yeah, he does some wrong things sometimes, but I love that part of it. The Kyle O'Reilly stuff, or not Kyle O'Reilly, Kyle Fletcher stuff was just it was a little too overacted. And it was kind of the same thing they'd been doing with Ospreay for a long time with the screwdriver. Like, that man just handed you a screwdriver to hit your literal best friend in the world, who literally just came to the realization that the guy that handed you a screwdriver is a piece of shit. Like, are you dumber than Ospreay? Which, like, Ospreay's the perfect amount of dumb for a babyface, where they need to be a little naive sometimes. This made Kyle Fletcher just look kind of clueless.
I get
why they did it, but yeah.
Well, my and Jamie, because Jamie has had a long running prediction on this here with the whole, especially with Kyle Fletcher. But my prediction on it is that I don't think Kyle Fletcher's going to join Ospreay. I think he's going to stay in the family.
I don't know. I'm still on the fence. I still think Mark Fields?
Davis.
Mark Davis. I know some basic ass white guy name. He's got to have something in this. Like, he has to have a part in this.
I mean, you got other contenders now too, because you got Lance Archer's now part of the Don Callis family, apparently, right? Monster Hobbs, whatever the fuck he's going by, he's going to be back at some point.
Monster.
Whatever. And it does make a lot of sense, but then again, to me, Will Ospreay is somebody who, as that supremo babyface, he walks alone too, right? He's not out here to do it with his best friend.
Like Batista?
Yes. I'm just glad, I was thinking more like no, we're not going down to superpowers.
Loud. Oh, come on, dude.
No, I am familiar with the song. Yes, I stand alone.
Sorry.
I would be good with, Mark Davis coming back, Fletcher getting jumped out of the family for siding with Ospreay. And you don't need to keep Ospreay and Fletcher like teaming every week and all that, but you could just have their association with Aussie Open and AEW. We talk about sometimes where it feels like the Attitude Era, where like everyone's got their little group of friends and everyone interacts in the back and stuff. Like you don't have to keep tagging Ospreay and Fletcher, but I do think Fletcher's got to leave the family because you're getting Hobbs back, you got Lance Archer, you got Takeshita, and maybe throw someone new in the Don Callis family.
Well, and here's the thing: Davis has never officially been a part of the family.
Yeah,
maybe he comes to help out. As Lance Archer and Will Hobbs are the ones doing the beating out, and here comes Davis to save him, and you got Fletcher and Davis back together, which they can run
would be detrimental to Kyle Fletcher.
I understand that. I'm not saying it's the smartest of ideas, but is it something that definitely would happen potentially? We all know this writing crew.
It definitely would happen potentially.
It's full politics season, man. I am not giving you an answer, but I'm going to give you a bunch of words that sound like an answer.
I mostly just want to see Aussie Open continue on as a team once Mark Davis is back because I want the tag team division to not be useless. Like, stack that division back up. Let's get it going.
Aussie Open was a fantastic tag team. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
So I'm all for that. Just saying. Yes, I know that the long-term goal for Kyle Fletcher is, but to the point though, Jamie, is like he's not going to be immediately, because you're not going to you don't want to have somebody run like arm in arm with Ospreay because Ospreay needs to be sort of independent, of his own, right?
Oh, I agree.
What's Kyle Fletcher going to do by himself? I hate to say it like that, but let's be real.
Get Continental Championship. Get International Championship.
I think he can earn it. I think he's worth it, but I don't know.
Coastal Carolina one, whichever, like their 18th ones they have.
Yeah,
maybe go for that new Luchador Championship.
Since you mentioned that really quick, we are about 7 weeks out from Continental Classic season. I would love to see Kyle Fletcher in the Continental Classic this year.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, book that already.
Too.
You're probably going to have him. You're probably going to have Ricochet in there too, is my guess.
And Daniel Garcia.
Woo! Let's go.
Can't wait.
Gentlemen, I think it's time for us to talk about that main event.
This is where the title in Title Tuesday comes in, Jamie.
Yes. Bryan Danielson and Wheeler Yuta versus Claudio and Pac.
Everybody has a title.
Everybody
How long
has
have
the
Claudio
title.
and Pac been using that music? Because this is the first time I noticed it.
I don't remember it any other
It
time.
was different. It was really good.
Yeah, it might have been the first time.
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah.
Definitely worth an investigation, guys. Worth a Google.
Yeah. watch Claudio and Pac's entrance for tonight because that music was like real good for what they're doing with them.
I think it's safe to say this match fucked. I think.
Was there ever any doubt?
No.
If there was, there's something seriously wrong with you, and you need to go to therapy or something. Like, I mean, you should anyway because it's really good for you. But I'm just saying.
You know what I really appreciate about this match that you don't often get, and this is kind of like halfway there. You don't often get tag team matches that are not actual tag teams that are this good.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know Claudio and Pac hold the trios titles with Yuta, but like they only started teaming like 6 weeks ago or something like that, really.
Yeah.
This was like the best you can do for, hey, our main event are these two guys that hate these other two guys just all fighting each other, not actual tag teams and tag team
But you look at the components you have there. I mean,
absolutely.
Pac and Claudio, you put them in any situation, right? Yuta to me was the star of the show again, right? They did the classic angle of Danielson gets taken out and just one on two, and Yuta's just getting the shit kicked out of him, and he was doing a fantastic job with all that. And Danielson is Danielson, so yeah. I mean, everything about this worked the way you should. And then at the end, of course, you get, Moxley comes out with... I love the way they did the post-match, though, I will say. Because after the match, Moxley Danielson chases Moxley up to the back. But the others stick around to beat the shit out of Yuta more. Which brings the question I want to ask both you gentlemen. Come Saturday, at the end of Saturday night, is Yuta a part of this group? Yay or nay? Does he turn on Danielson and join Moxley?
Nay.
Yay.
I'm a yay.
I'm a nay. Now this is more what I hope happens. Like this is more thinking with the heart than the head on this one, because I would not be shocked at all if Yuta turns on Danielson. One, that seems a little too obvious. Yeah. Two, what is there to do with Wheeler Yuta if he continues with this group, besides just be the last member of the group? I think the much better and more interesting story going forward is Yuta and Claudio. Not as a team, but like
I like that story. I like that feud, to be honest with you. There,
I do too.
I mean, they're already laying the groundwork.
That's what I was saying earlier. Danielson's leaving with that title, and I think Yuta's going to be out there to help even it out.
I wouldn't be surprised
if it went the other way.
I think the safe play is to have Wheeler turn on him, but to your point, I think the right play is for him to assist. And then you do get the Pac, Yuta, Claudio, Yuta. But then, like, what does that mean for the trios titles? Do they get...
Well, Rob asked that question in chat here, okay?
I know. I was...
Oh, look at you segueing in. Good job. Go for it.
Segueing off of Rob.
So what do you do with who do they drop the titles to? Because obviously they can't hold them if they're on opposing each other.
It could be anybody. I would like to see House of Black. But it could be anyone. I think that makes the Yuta and Claudio story more interesting. Maybe Yuta has to trot out there every couple weeks and defend those titles until they drop them while they're still feuding. Like it's a thing that they've overdone in pro wrestling history to ill effect, where can they coexist? But they're already the champions. They're not joining up to win them. I think that's an interesting, fun wrinkle in the Claudio Yuta story that leads us getting Claudio and Yuta one-on-one after they drop those titles.
I'm just going to
and they can drop it to anyone.
I'm just going to throw this out there, all right? Because to support this upcoming statement, do we need to have trios titles? Nah. I say no. So just disband them. Part of the power-hungry trip that John Moxley goes on is disbanding the trios titles since they're opposing. If you go with this whole angle of Yuta being separate from them, right? There's no way they can defend it, so F these titles. They go in the trash. Now, that won't happen, but that's a thought. I don't know. They'll probably give it to some conglomeration. Jake Roberts' band of luchadors. There you go.
Yeah, you've got people that can have them, but like you're saying, I don't think you really need trios titles. Not when you have a dying tag division.
You've got to make up so many. You don't have natural trios hanging around. You know, you've got to make up so many plausible strings to give it to somebody, right? You got very few. You got House of Black. You've got, now Luchasaurus is out, but you've got very few actual trios out there. So,
yeah, and I mean, you've got the Ring of Honor trios titles, and I know they did an interview with Tony Khan earlier today where he said promoting Ring of Honor is a big priority of his going forward. When you've got three guys with nothing better to do on Dynamite and Collision, send them to Ring of Honor to challenge for the trios titles for a while. But like, let's rebuild the tag division. Let's get away from the trios titles because they seem half in on both, and neither is in a particularly good place at this point in time.
One of my favorite sayings, Jamie, is when you half-ass two, it's better to whole-ass one thing than half-ass two things.
Just combine them and make a quintuplet title. Is that 5 quintuplet?
All right, we're moving on here. All right.
Yeah, might as well, Hey, what else?
17-man tag titles.
Everyone in the company is tag team champions.
1, 2, 3, 4. We need 4 more guys. We need 4. Okay.
So what? I mean, I love that Jake Roberts and the Three Amigos. That's a little overly culturally appropriated. It was like Jake Roberts and his Serpents, and then he'll add Serpentico.
That'd be great. His first promo with them is just like, all right, which one of you Serpentico? And they're just looking at each other like, what the fuck?
You're a dragon. Not anymore.
All right. Well, we got pay-per-view this Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, which means the title that Jamie is currently holding will be on the line again. So we'll talk more about that next week as we get to it. But that was Dynamite.
That was Dynamite. It was a good Dynamite.
Very good Dynamite. Did you guys catch any Fed this week?
I did. I caught Bad Blood in its entirety.
I'm sorry.
It was heavy on the bad and
the blood.
I would say light on the blood, but the first 40 minutes was the blood. The next 4 hours was the bad.
Was the bad. Okay. So it was on point. It was good branding. See, that's what WWE does so well, is branding.
Did both y'all see the Hell in the Cell match?
No.
Oh, it was amazing. It was arguably, I mean, nothing will ever top Taker Mankind, but
what? That's not even number 1. Taker and Shawn all the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Taker and Mankind was like 2 spots, which were iconic for what they were, but the match as a whole had like 10 minutes in the middle of them just trying to stretch her Foley out. Like there was so very little wrestling in that actual match. It was literally just like 2 big ass spots.
It really was.
And Terry Funk getting choke slammed out of his shoes, which I did enjoy.
No, I enjoyed the hell out of this one. It was definitely a top fiver for me. I thought it was really, really damn good.
I thought it was one of the best WWE matches I've seen in a long time.
Oh, damn.
I didn't think, like, I saw a lot of people saying it was an all-time great match. And I thought it fell short of that for me. Like, it was very good and the best they put out in a long time, but I don't know. I mean, maybe I've just been spoiled by the blood feud payoffs in AEW, like Swerve and Hanger, where this was very good. I don't want to get any misconceptions. I really enjoyed it, but like I've seen Swerve and Hanger try and murder each other like 4 times over the last year,
Yeah.
and it looked like they hated each other way more than Punk and Drew.
I mean, the last match ended with a man getting his cheek pierced by a hypodermic needle.
The first match was one drinking the other's blood. They started with that.
Yeah. So, well, I didn't catch Bad Blood. I didn't catch the Hell in a Cell. First only Fed I've been watching has been NXT. NXT was in St. Louis this week. It was their second of at least 2. I think that's all they have. Live shows on the road. It's actually really good for the product, getting out of that, venue and traveling around. So we begged for NXT to do way back in the day, right? Because it was fine back when it was on the WWE network, right? And then they have the takeovers, and the takeovers would just be the most bonkers shit ever, right? Takeovers New Orleans, takeovers Brooklyn, 1 through 87, however many Brooklyns they did, right? Toronto, Portland, all that, right? So it was good to see NXT actually do that. Have some live shows. Last week was Chicago. This week was St. Louis with Randy Orton as your person that's there because he's from St. Louis.
He had a good match.
He had a good match. I like. Sometimes the cameos they do from like the main roster are just for pop, but sometimes that pop is worth it. Like,
Yeah.
Like going back and forth between Whoop That Trick and Yeet is so good. So good, But those who know me, I'm a big stand for Julia. And and she was on there confronting Roxanne and Cora Jade, who have, buddied up, right? Challenge her to a tag match, and who's she going to get? Well, none other than a Miss Stephanie Vacour making her on TV debut. So NXT, I'm telling you, Rob, NXT is worth watching. It's not what it was back in the Adam Cole Undisputed Era, Sanity. It's not that, right?
Yeah.
It's the best it's been since that, I will say. Okay?
Yeah, I still need to check it out. I haven't got around to it yet. But like all the clips I see look pretty rad. I liked Randy Orton showing up. I think Randy Orton is like in the perfect place to do something like showing up on NXT now.
Yeah.
He's still like an important guy on your main roster, but he's not the guy anymore. So it's cool to see him show up somewhere like this.
He gives
I did want to say
he gives that casual comedy too, which I love too. Right out of nowhere.
He's funny.
Oh, he's so.
I do want to say before we move on from Bad Blood, though, did y'all see the clip of Dom falling out of the cage?
Yes.
One of the best stunts they have ever pulled off in WWE.
Oh,
the cage door is open and it's hanging up like 10, 15 feet off the ground. And you see him tumble forward out. And you're like, oh, shit, he's going to die. But they've got him gimmicked up. It's like probably a harness or something, like some chain around his leg. And he starts falling head first, just kind of stops and hangs there. And it was like, it's one of the few things I've ever seen that like I legitimately thought a man was about to die, but they got me. Like, well done.
Yeah. And then Rhea Ripley beats the shit out of him with a kendo stick, which is like
it's
makes
even
it all
better.
In the middle of the finish of that match going way off the rails. That was real bad.
Yeah.
They clearly the ref was not supposed to see Raquel hit Rhea from behind, but it happened right in front of him. So he had to call for the bell, and Raquel pulls Liv on top of Rhea for the count, but the ref's already called for the bell, so he can't count. And then Liv's music starts playing. Like, it was just clearly one of those things. It's live TV. Like, hey, sometimes shit doesn't go to plan, and shit did not go to plan.
Yeah.
It did not.
It sucks too, because it killed any heat or reaction you would have got for Raquel, which I like Raquel. Like, glad she's back, but yeah, not a good start to the return.
Well, yeah, Ethan Page is doing great. He's doing great work. It's great stuff. It's the best Page has been since his title run in TNA Impact. Okay.
He's one I always thought would be better in WWE. Like, he seems better fit for what they do.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, there's several from that, the TNA that, Jordan Grace, of course, we talked about. Moose, we talked about. Ethan Page fits in that bill as well, though. That's like, yeah, AEW, sure, but you'd be better off over here.
I'm just waiting for them to buy TNA and give us a Josh Alexander, Kurt Angle run on the main roster.
Ooh,
Please
push. Oh, okay, all right.
Give me Josh Alexander and Braun Breaker down the line,
dude.
that'd be better than them trying to push Goldberg onto us. Though Gunther did bury him really quick. Goes, I got 3 minutes.
Just why? Why are we doing Goldberg?
God
things?
bless you, Gunther. All right, that's wrestling for the week. Jamie, you wanted us to get into some stuff.
Well, of course, it is the month of greatness that is of October, the Halloween season. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I don't know if you are aware, but just as of yesterday, Resident Evil 2 was not the only remake that was made, ladies and gentlemen. No. Not Resident Evil 4, not Resident Evil 3, not even in the Resident Evil realm. No. Silent Hill 2 remake came out yesterday.
Saturday, if you pre-ordered the deluxe edition.
Of course.
Just
I got the biggest, baddest edition I could get. Gentlemen, Silent Hill was arguably my favorite horror game of all time.
wow.
By far.
Okay.
It beats Resident Evil. I love Resident Evil. I love the collection that is Resident Evil, the entire story it tells. But Silent Hill 2 within its little silo is arguably one of the best stories ever in a wrestling or in a video game. Now, here's the thing though, gentlemen. Silent Hill just came out. They're also making another Silent Hill movie. I don't know if you saw that.
Supposedly it's themed after the video game Silent Hill 2.
Silent Hill 2 video game.
Supposedly.
So, my question for you guys today,
Yes,
revolves around video games that turned into movies. So, obviously, Silent Hill, the movies were not that great. They were fine. You got
first one
Pyramid
was
Head.
okay.
Cool.
First
It was
one was-
fine. Even though Pyramid Head totally wasn't in the first game whatsoever, but they put it inside whatever. Because Alessa, whatever. That pisses me off as a Silent Hill person. But, so I am actually going to go outside the realm of just scary horror games. I'm just going to
Yay!
go
I haven't played none of them.
any video game movie adaptation that you love.
Most of them.
I will start with the one that does fit this bill, actually. And if it's a broken record a little bit, if you've ever tuned into this show and we've had this discussion, I generally really like the Resident Evil films. Are they good? No. The first one's not
Nothing
bad.
to do with
First
the
one's not
games.
bad. Second one's trying to be close-ish to the games, and they went off the rails. Good, dumb, fun movies. And I will always argue that I enjoyed the Resident Evil films. And they made 7 of them. So, yeah.
I think I saw like the third one, and maybe that was it. I never played Resident Evil. Wasn't my thing. I saw one of the movies. It was an enjoyable action movie, but like just not my style. My wife loves them. She's a big fan of the Resident Evil movies. But as far as video game movies, the only one I can think of that I didn't like was Assassin's Creed. Street Fighter, people will shit on it. The Street Fighter movie was fun. That captures the mid to late 90s so well. With Jean-Claude Van Damme as Guile. Raul Julia, performance of a lifetime as M. Bison. The Street Fighter movie is a good time. The old Mortal Kombat movies were a great time. Did y'all see the Uncharted movie that came out with Tom Holland?
Yeah,
I heard it's not bad. I haven't seen it, though.
It was just a good kind of like treasure hunting action adventure movie. The old Super Mario movies, or Super Mario Brothers movie with John Leguizamo. I enjoyed that as well. Maybe because I was like 8 when I watched it, but I think the only video game movie I can think of that I did not like was Assassin's Creed.
You must
'cause
not
it
have
was just
seen
very
Max
interesting.
Payne then.
I never played Max Payne, so I never saw the movie either. So
Max
that,
Payne was an amazing
Bad?
game. Groundbreaking, kind of like the thought process behind what you're doing in the game. And they tried to make a movie out of that with Mark Wahlberg. I've said enough.
I remember
That
the movie coming
was
out. I never saw
bad.
it.
It was bad. Tomb Raider.
Which one?
Jolie.
I mean, she did look like the pixelated version. So
I'm nothing against Alicia Vikander's Tomb Raider. It actually was not that bad of a movie. Some people dog it, but
It was fine.
100% just like the revival.
it was
Like,
a lot closer to the
great.
revivals. The modern sequels, I should say, not the revivals. But Jolie's Tomb Raider. Come on.
Actually, I just remembered one, and I can't believe I forgot this because this is actually my favorite video game movie of all time. Warcraft.
All right.
The Warcraft movie is such a good time.
What about the Doom movie?
So bad.
I never
It's so
saw the
bad.
Doom. Oh, the one with the Rock. The one with the
Yes.
Rock. Okay. That was like the fun kind of cheesy bad though.
The only part of that movie that I liked, and I didn't actually like it within the movie, but was when they actually went into the first person in like the last act, right?
Yeah, it was not good at all, but
Mm-hmm.
it was like the fun kind of bad movie. So like I don't have a
Yeah.
problem with the Doom one.
And there's a bunch of stuff that, see, here's the thing. Video games I think people have finally started to realize, well, maybe not, considering studios still doing what the studios are doing, but, people are realizing more and more that video games are their own narrative story, right? Look at Elden Ring, right? That is one of the best stories that's probably been written in the past 5 years, right? In general, okay? It's deep, the Souls, well, FromSoft is a whole nother world, but you've had great properties which they've tried to convert into media, and just like the Halo. Halo is one of my favorite series of video game series of all times, right? Love me some Halo. I love the story behind Halo. Halo 2 is one of the best stories in a video game of all time. Fight me. Okay, let's go. And they put it on a series, and not so much. Most of the movies have been at least dumb fun, if nothing else, though. I will say that.
Well, speaking of
Yeah.
games,
Well, hold on.
No,
Jamie's
Allow
got
me to give mine.
Jamie's got to chime in.
oh,
here,
that's
yeah.
right. I thought you start with Silent Hill, but like
No, I've been
Continue.
playing Silent Hill. The movies sucked. I'm sorry. Just because I am such a Silent Hill nerd. Like, you don't have Pyramid Head in the very first one because Pyramid Head's the James Sunderland thing, and that's Silent Hill 2. He was nowhere to be found in there, but then they decided to throw him in Silent Hill 3, which was Silent Hill Revelations, the second movie. Like, they decided to do that whole thing, and like then whatever. They tried to make Pyramid Head their thing, and it's like it was a manifestation of his smothering his wife. Anyway, spoiler. There's only one correct answer, gentlemen. There's only one. I can't believe neither of you hit it. It arguably has the greatest soundtrack that has ever came from any kind of video game movie. 1995's Mortal Kombat.
I mentioned Mortal Kombat.
He did mention
After
it.
I said Street Fighter, I said the old Mortal Kombat movies too.
The 1995, to be exact,
Yeah,
is
That one was
a
great.
masterpiece.
I like Annihilation too. Like the sequel was solid, and the new Mortal Kombat they did, like they actually made a serious movie. That was good too.
Oh yeah, it's good.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
the new one. I like the new one, but the fact that you had the Highlander playing Raiden, a Japanese or not Japanese, but like an Asian god, and it's just some just random white guy,
I
with a
love
terrible accent. Come on now,
Puppet
You
Goro.
can't beat that.
Like practical effects.
Oh,
Goro
the puppet Goro.
was so good.
It's
like
so good.
claymation
Yes.
looking. Oh my god.
That by far, in a way, is the best adaptation. Like,
Ugh.
something could be said for the Super Mario Bros. Movie. I did enjoy that. I know a lot of people didn't.
That was good.
Um,
The newest one, I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
honestly, Hitman wasn't terrible.
I don't know if I saw Hitman.
That was okay.
Yeah, I watched Hitman from 2007, not Agent 47.
I didn't really play the game, so
That came out in 15.
most of that would have gone over my head, honestly. But it wasn't a bad movie.
Monster Hunter was absolutely garbage, but in the best possible way. Sonic the Hedgehog, guys.
Oh,
I don't think I ever saw the
I
movie.
haven't seen the Sonics.
Oh, they're great.
I've heard good.
I've
things
heard
about it. I've
that.
never
I
seen
just
it.
haven't seen them.
I've only so I'm gonna lie. I've only seen the first one and I loved it. I haven't seen the second one because that one's got Knuckles in it. I just have not seen that.
Yeah, we got Keanu Reeves is in this next one they got coming out.
Yeah. Five Nights at Freddy's. I've never played a video game, but the movie is
I pulled in the TV show thing, as a tangent, Rob. We're trying to stay at movies, but you're right. The Fallout TV show is amazing.
Yeah, Fallout show was great.
Oh, well, Fallout TV show and The Last of Us, two of the best TV shows there are, and both very well done adaptations.
So Fallout, the Fallout games annoy me, like because it's just I feel like it's a lot of rinse repeat, honestly, for an open world
RPG.
game.
Like that's kind of how they go.
I know.
It's par for
I
the
know,
course.
and I get that, but like I find so. Hot take: I'm not a big fan of Bethesda storylines. I found the TV show way more appealing because it tied up so many loose ends I've had playing any of those games.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The TV show is great. But that's the thing with RPGs like that, it's kind of the story is what you make it. Like you're supposed to be just playing as a character in the world, so it's less of that clear, concise. I mean, there's clearly a narrative storyline going on, but they've got to leave it kind of open for you to make your own choices.
Well, and the problem with Fallout 2 is they've been around for so long. They've gone on a lot of tangents in games. Like there's so many properties Fallout has, right? Like if you go to the Fallout wiki, like I wanted to look up something that was on a TV show. I was like, I don't remember that from the game. Let me look that up real fast. It's like, holy shit, this is a rabbit hole that I don't want to go down because it's just roof. Crazy.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. So yeah, see, this was a fun one. See, we didn't go just horror, guys. But don't worry, we'll go back to our regularly scheduled programming.
And actually, you know what one is technically? No one would guess this. But technically a video game adaptation. Lego Batman movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
gray.
Yeah. That's like lumping Eddie Guerrero in with the WCW Luchas. Like, is it though?
Technically.
Circling it back to the beginning of the show.
Just like Pikachu, Detective Pikachu.
Detective Pikachu was very enjoyable. I would count that as a video game movie.
Sure. I'm not a Pokemon guy, so whatever.
It was adorable. And you got Mewtwo.
I'm not seeing Gran Turismo. I don't plan on seeing Gran Turismo either.
Yeah.
I love the Gran Turismo games. Loved
the movie.
I was never a racing game guy.
I had the original. My favorite car was the Mitsubishi FTO. 1,000 horsepower all-wheel drive, baby. Let's go.
I think it was 3, 4, somewhere around there. I found the it was the Mercedes Benz, like it was like a Showhammer or something. I don't remember. It's basically a bi-turbo V12 Mercedes Benz coupe from like the early 90s. And that thing, it was all back end, just I basically was drifting around an entire course. It was so much fun. Oh.
Suzuki Escudo from Gran Turismo 2.
Oh, the Scudo. Okay, all right. This is
sorry.
All right. So, we do have one more thing that's also not wrestling related because fantasy football still going on, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, by that
we are down to only one team who is yet to win.
Yes.
That's me.
That's Jamie. That's
me, guys.
So luckily, worst case scenario did not happen this past week. So you see the rankings there. I lost my window. There it is. Nope, that's the wrong thing. Too many windows open, JJ. So going back to this past week, we had Jamie and Austin going up against each other. Oh, the Brooklyn Brawlers now. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I'm the Brooklyn Brawlers now. I'm officially like at that level.
And look at this. I mean, these two men, this is probably the best match of the week, guys. These guys were going at each other, Does it kill you, Jamie, that with Brian Thomas Jr. on your bench, you had it easy. You've actually made some changes today too. Looks like too, because you had somebody else in here. Who was it last week? Oh, I thought you had. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Brian Thomas Jr. Yeah, this is it. Brian Thomas Jr. 26 points in on your bench. You played the Cleveland running back.
Yeah, well, I mean, how was I supposed to know Aaron Jones was going to get hurt? Like, that's the thing. Like, everybody went off like they're supposed to.
Plus, I mean, look at Drake London and Jamar Chase just going off for Austin. You just seriously, I think 176 might be the league high this year.
It might be. It was a very solid week. Finally,
it was. And after Thursday, I was down by like 50 something.
Yeah,
yeah. Drake London went off Thursday night, and I was like, all right, that's a real good start. And then Jamar Chase went off.
Oh, your quarterback had 15 points. You still almost got $180.
I want to say I left somebody on the bench that outscored some of my roster too. Like, no. But here's the thing. Here's why even after demolishing and demoralizing Jamie this past week, I heard through the grapevine he was thinking about quitting the league. I beat him so bad out on that gridiron field. I have now, even though I sit at a lowly 1-4, I have scored the most points in the entire league, but I have still had more points scored against me than I have scored.
Yeah. Crazy. So that bodes well for your wife, because that's who you face next week. And boy, she's going her Bears and Jets. I'll tell you what, you know.
Hey, she outscored Jamie last week too.
Absolutely.
It was 4 points. She would have beat me too. Only 2 teams would have beat me.
I mean,
both of them are residents.
Tommy TV had 134 points and lost. Okay. Megan is still undefeated somehow. Okay. Boy, that
your ass.
Well, how about you, Mr. I'll trade you Brandon You can, as she immediately puts him in and gets 26 points.
Hey, it was a fair trade. She needs running backs and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, trade. I'll take Mixon.
But immediately the week you trade him away, he goes off for 26 points. Just saying. Okay. Let's see. Chase didn't fare too well. Chase, buddy. Oh, God. Second, the lowest score of the week. That -6 on defense is just a kick in the nuts when you got 21 points coming from the Vikings. Dude, Vikings, I'll tell you what. And I had a shot on Monday night, but not really, especially with Nico getting hurt. I thought for sure I kept in there Pickens and Harris because I'm like, Dallas is beat up. Tomlin always shows up for night games, right? All the points were there. Everybody said, play Pickens, play Pickens, play Pickens. I'm like, okay. That was a mistake. He's now benched. But, yeah. That's how it is. So, that leads us to where we are, like I said. Everybody makes the playoffs, so it's good. Rob, did I do Rob's game?
So, fun fact, before you move on. Austin's had the most points scored against him. I am the second most. And you know who happens to have the least points scored against them?
That'd be me.
Yeah, you.
Lockdown defense.
And you know who scored more points than you? Both of us.
Oh, I know that.
I've scored more points than everybody.
I know.
By a considerable margin.
Behind.
Have I don't remember if I played you yet, Austin. Have we played each other yet?
We have not played yet.
Yeah. I did beat Jamie on week 1, though. So
by 2 points.
Hey, wait. I'm looking at this W column here. That's all I'm looking at. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what those are at this point.
Well, Rob, you're looking good. Austin's on the win column. Like I said, right now, me and Heidi tied for tops here. Well, again, we all make the playoffs, so it is what it is. So, all right, guys.
Megan might get her first loss. We'll see.
We shall see. Well, I had to do some shuffling because Nico's now on the IR. Nico was my stalwart. So.
Oh, did he go to the IR?
He officially went to the IR today. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, it's a long season, but that is fantasy football. That is wrestling. That is everything. That's a whole lot. We gone over 2 hours. Wow. One of these days, we're actually going to hit our goal of keeping it high and tight, right? I swear. Thank you for watching.
Less good wrestling to talk about, maybe.
There's a lot of good wrestling, yeah, and there's a lot of good wrestling coming up. So this weekend, like we mentioned, is Wrestle Dream. Man, my brain just stopped for a second there. Wrestle Dream. We will have our picks in. We will talk more about it next week. We will see who the new champion is. There will be a new champion. I'm predicting.
No, I'm retaining for the
We'll
third
see.
consecutive time.
We shall see. But we will have
beat Jamie for the second weekend in a row.
Do it, Austin. Well, but we'll be back next week at our regularly scheduled time. So roughly a half an hour after Dynamite gets over, a Wednesday night. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you being here. If this is your first time, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe, hit the little bell icon so you know when we go live, in case we ever do this again, where we might have to come on one night at a different time. But we appreciate you guys for all your support. Jamie, take us home, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not down with Total Spotfest, I got 5 words for you. Steelers country. You're gonna die.
Jamie thinks he's trolling me hard. He's really not. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Later.